Hey folks, welcome back to BrickVault for another MOC review. MOC stands for my own creation, and I wish this was my creation because it's so damn good. This is the minifig scale Ultimate Custom Collector Series Imperial Lambda-class T-4A Shuttle Tydirium, designed by a new builder on the channel Appetite for Construction, which is a perfect name for what we do here at BrickVault, I gotta say. The Lambda shuttle that absolutely does not fit in my review setup is a multi-purpose vessel mostly used by the Empire, but also by rebellious traitors, as we saw. This type of shuttle was used mainly to transport high-ranking officials, but also stormtroopers and cargo. It is equipped with 5 sets of double laser cannons, a hyperdrive, and I didn't know this, but the cockpit is actually a detachable escape pod. This model by Appetite for Construction is not an update of our existing model by Marshall Banana, but more so a version 2, a completely new build that Marshall just assisted with a little bit to give it a cherry on top. With its stand, this model has 6,434 pieces, around 750 pieces more than our previous version, and you won't believe that, for the Lego pieces we paid just half of what we paid for the original Tydirium. The new model costs around $600 to $700, while the old one was around $1,200 to $1,400. This is mostly due to the lack of motors and battery box and all that stuff in the new model. A motorized function is a cool addition, but it also bumps up the price significantly, so it was left out from the new one, also to make some more space for interiors. So if you like the Tydirium, but our previous model was just too expensive for you, this one is the best Tydirium out there for a very good price when it comes to MOC standards. It's just so good. If you want to build this shuttle for yourself and you happen to have the space for it, you can find the excellently created building instructions together with a parts list on BrickVault.toys or at the link in the video description. The parts list is available as a free download, so you can check the prices for the pieces on Bricklink yourself first before purchasing the instructions. Every purchase supports us at BrickVault, so we can keep working with the best independent Lego designers on the planet, like Appetite for Construction, to bring you guys the best Lego custom builds possible. If you like what we do, feel free to check out our web store, or if you're a little short of disposable funds for models like this, which is totally understandable in this case, we have a ton of smaller models available as well, or simply just leave a like on this video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Both cost nothing and supports us immensely already. Either way, thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the video. The model comes with a ton of white pieces. I used both used and new pieces for this build, so it isn't perfectly white. It has some yellowed pieces in it, but I think that actually adds to this model in this case, making it look used and battle damaged. You can see the designer used some tan and dark tan pieces throughout anyways to achieve this look. If you want a clean white shuttle though, I recommend getting only new pieces, but of course that's a bit more expensive. The instructions for this build were very straightforward, very similar to official Lego instructions. You first build up the Technic skeleton of the model with the landing function integrated, and then you basically build up the rest of the model around it, with the interior getting placed just above the function afterwards, and the cockpit and wings following. The model can be displayed in 2 ways. Appetite for Construction included a large black stand for displaying the shuttle in flying mode with the wings folded down. This is obviously the coolest way of displaying the shuttle, but it also takes up the most space. On its stand, the shuttle is 83 centimeters tall and wide and 51 centimeters deep. Here is me eating a banana next to it, so you can get a sense of scale. It's really a hefty build. The stand has space for 3 minifigs to display at the front. I chose Vader, Palpatine and an Imperial Guard here. I think those work well, but you can also put Luke and a shuttle pilot here, for example. A lot of options here since this ship was also stolen by the rebels, so Leia and Han could work here too. On the back side there is a small knob that you can turn, and this, you could say, really transforms this shuttle into landing mode. It takes a little bit of time to do so. I can understand the desire to hook up a motor to this. You can see me do it in this time lapse, but I'm almost certain there is an easy way hooking up an external motor to do this if you so like. This function not only moves the wings from flying to landed position, but it geniusly also folds down the landing gear simultaneously. The previous model had the landing gear attached as a sub-assembly separately. I wish I had the previous version in the studio to compare to, but I don't unfortunately, so we have to live with a shot from the original review from Jack. Anyways, the way the landing gear folds out is just great. There are a couple of flaps on the underside that you need to fold out of the way first, and then you just have to turn the knob at the back and everything happens simultaneously like magic. And just like that we have the second display option here. Before putting it down, I have to show you guys an unmatched attention to detail that I really didn't expect, even though I've already seen the greatness of this build. But just look at this. In the openings that the folded out landing gear creates, there is detail in here. Bunch of bucket handles in gold and Exoforce arms and hoses and pipes for a section that you 99.9% of the time won't even see, even if the shuttle was displayed on a high shelf in its landed position. This is almost only for the builder to appreciate while building, or if you go search for it. Super impressive stuff. The shuttle can be hauled up just by the landing gear without any issues. The designer included a panel for the underside to cover up the hole that the stand slots in. But for longer displays like this, Appetite for Construction included a shorter stand to put the landed shuttle on, just to make sure that no Technic pieces bend over time. What impresses me the most almost is the lack of gaps between the body and the wings, even though the wings are able to move up and down. Usually with sets, but also with MOCs of this ship, we see some rather big gaps between the body and wings here. Let's take a closer look at all the details on this build. You can see the model is built using snot, meaning studs not on top, almost exclusively throughout to make for a smooth look. Everything that is not completely smooth here is put there intentionally to recreate a detail that is present on the real thing as well. All these details are thoughtfully crafted. This model, compared to all other models I've seen of this ship, also captures the dark gray line down the wings, which is a detail that you can miss easily in the movies and just shows that the designer studied this ship. It uses one of my favorite techniques, using panel pieces to cover up any gaps and make details like this possible in a narrow space. The wings are also really sturdy because they use Technic lift arms throughout. The tips have a small yellow light represented, and we have this dark tan section built into the wing on both the upper side and the underside. Near the main body of the ship, the wings have a set of double laser cannons just below the main set of double laser cannons. I always found this a little overpowered in this section, in this specific area, but I guess it makes more sense here than putting them on the end of the wings, since those sections are much more vulnerable. Right next to it we have some dark red highlights and even a printed tile that are built up in a really interesting way to protrude from the ship a bit. You can see the exposed gears that are actually also visible on the real thing, and they are also important here for the feature, like they probably also are in the real thing. The sides of the main fuselage are built with bricks on their sides, and the side walls are also much more complicated than they appear. You can see this intake built half into the ship, which looks really cool, and we have a really smooth curvature leading us onto the roof of the ship. This is the place to get into the interior, which we will come to in just a moment. I think Appetite for Construction really made the most out of bricks laying on their sides here on the roof, with quite a few different surface details here with these grilled bricks or the garage door pieces in the front. The main intake is built using 1x3 jumper plate undersides, which is interesting, and this whole subassembly was laid on its side. The top fin is built very similarly to the wings, with a very pleasing variety of details captured. Even the diagonal line in the middle was captured, which is very nice, and this is also supported with Technic lift arms, so you can actually technically lift up the whole shuttle just by the fin if you know where to hold it. The back also has quite a high density of details, making good use of white stud shooter pieces and horn pieces. And of course because we have the rear mounted turret here. Before we come to the cockpit, let me take this opportunity on its stand to show you the underside real quick. Again, the amount of details packed into even the underside is super impressive. Here you can also see the flaps that need to be opened for the landing gear to fold out. The cockpit used a combination of some of the most advanced techniques I have seen in any custom build to get all these different angles to line up without even a hair thickness of a gap showing. This is a serious feat of engineering here that is not stopping at the bottom of the cockpit even. The opposite is the case. We may have even more details here with these teeth-like pieces and even hose details here that 99% of the time aren't even visible. This also hides away one of the features of this build, which is the folding out ramp that leads into the interior. And here's also the first interior section that we're going to take a look at. The cockpit comes forward and a part of the roof slides off to reveal a cockpit with 4 seats to put minifigs inside and a really cool control console featuring a handle for light speed that you can actually move forward, a couple of printed slow pieces and a couple of levers coming out the top as additional detailing. From here you can also see the complexity of the windscreen subassembly. Behind the seats is where the ramp goes down, and right behind it we go into the second interior section, which is where the crew sits. You can access this by removing 2 parts of the roof. Inside you can find 610 seats, a weapons rack in the middle and plenty of floor space to also stand up minifigs inside. And there's actually enough headroom to put the roof back on with minifigs standing, which is cool. In the back there is another room indicated with a door and a keypad next to it, but there's just Technic inside, so this leads to nowhere. But before I forget, you see these yellow and black caution markings on the floor. It's a little tricky to do, but yeah, these are removable and you will find even more mechanical details inside. Pipes and hoses and cylinders of engines, I assume. Really cool detail which is totally unnecessary but adds so much to this build, and this is present on both sides. The whole build is really sturdy. If the weight is no problem for you, this build is easily swooshable. The way it is built with all the Technic inside, I'd say this is among our sturdiest models. But of course some sections are able to be knocked off, like the cannons or a couple of smaller sections on the cockpit. Other than that, this shuttle survived 2 drives and a lot of carrying, so you don't have to worry about handling it super carefully. It does wobble a little bit on its stand, but that is to be expected with a build like this. This model is immaculate. This is now one of my all-time favorites, and I'm so lucky I got the chance to build and display this as part of my job even. This is truly a one-of-a-kind building and displaying experience and a true centerpiece of any Star Wars collector, even if they're not a LEGO fan. And that has to mean something. Its visual presence is just unmatched to anything I've ever owned before. I tell you this as a LEGO and Star Wars enthusiast, but also just as a man appreciating the craftsmanship and eye for detail and accuracy. On the rainiest days I won't get tired of coming to the studio if this is what greets me every day. So if you want to experience what I experienced and build this model for yourself, or just check out the incredibly experienced work of a LEGO master designer, you can find the building instructions and parts list on our website BrickVault.toys, or click the first link in the description below. Your support means the world to us. Thank you everyone for watching and being part of this amazing experience I got to put into video form. If you enjoyed it as much as I did, then hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments what your favorite detail is, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video here at BrickVault.